What's up, fight fans, and welcome back to another Contender Series breakdown here on the Vegas Odds YouTube channel. I am your host of Fight Analyst Garrett Kermit, and with me, as always, is my man Joe Danger himself, Jesse Hobson. What's up, man? How's it going?
As always, I love it when you say that. I wish everyone would say that in my life, but we move on, we make new relationships, and hopefully those are better than the last. My man Garrett Kermit, as always.
Contender Series Week 1 was a blast. I thought there were some good fights. Obviously, Dana White didn't think so. He gave his tough speech over there, telling people if they want to be here, be like Joe Pyfer. And I guess maybe we'll see more people like Joe Pyfer in Week 2 on the Contender Series. Maybe not. I'm not really sure, but we'll see. I think it's a good one, shaping up to be a good one.
Yeah, I see both sides of that coin because, like, from the professional fighter standpoint, your name is not at risk, your record is at risk. You don't want to go out and just go hog wild. And then, I think we touched on it on our breakdown, but he's getting upset about the performances on Tuesday Night Contender, but then signing people that have zero notable wins on their record. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. Damn you, Dana. Ultimately, some of these cards are not shaping out to be as, I think, entertaining as he would expect. We can mention it. My misfire of the weekend was the Montel Mays fight, which shouldn't even have happened. That's just a prime example of the fighters that he's putting in these positions.
Yeah, I totally get you with that because, they signed a 3-0 fighter that's fought literally nobody, and they signed him over one of these other guys because they didn't get a finish. It just doesn't make sense. We're here to talk about Week 2 Contender Series, which is headlined by a great lightweight bout between Chris Duncan and Charlie Campbell. I think that was going to be an absolute banger of a fight. Guys are stand and bang right in the center, and I'm looking forward to that. Starting on the first fight on the card, I believe, is a fight in the welterweight division between Billy Gaff and Shimon Shimmyshky. Right now, the betting lines have Gaff as a -195 favorite, and the comeback Shimmyshky +165. What do you got?
Okay, so the lines have moved quite a bit since this morning. Looking into these fights, I was impressed with Goff's resume. Unfortunately for Shimon, I think this fight goes a lot like his the Mallet fight or the Malay fight. I think that Gaff has the wrestling advantage here. Look for Gaff to secure takedowns and land some good ground and pound before not clubbing, but subbing. I think he's going to sub this man. The reason is not that Shimon is terribly bad. I just think he's pretty green. Oddly enough, this is going to be Goff's first submission win in front of Dana and on the Contender Series. I think this kid is a stud. Everything I've seen from him, it's the writing is on the wall. Full disclosure, we were talking about this all damn day, but for some reason, I just think he's going to sink in the joke. I think he's going to get to the point where he's going to be tired of beating up on this man, and the neck is going to become available, and he's going to take him out that way.
I completely agree with you. I've been high on Billy Gaff for some time now. I kind of figured he'd be on the Contender Series. He was a Cage Titans welterweight champion. He was the CES double champion, welterweight and middleweight. He beat Contender Series alumni Justin Sumter, took him out of there in round 2, which he stepped up on 7 days notice up a weight class to get that win against a much bigger Sumter who had, I think, a 7-inch reach advantage in that fight. He had 79-inch reach and Gaff only has 72. Shimon, he's definitely taller. He's got 4 inches of height, but he only got a 2-inch reach advantage. And Gaff is very good at getting on the inside. As you saw in the Sumter fight, he was able to get an inside, land some good body shots, some good headshots. He's got some great wrestling. But the thing is, what he has is he's always got that come forward pressure in your face, ready to throw down. He's got a good chin on him, and he just wilts. He makes his opponents wilts. He puts the pace and the pressure that he puts on people, and it just makes them just crack. And I don't think Shimmyshky really has the abilities to take that pressure for 15 minutes without not getting cracked on the feet or taken down and getting beaten up. Goff is saying that his pressure is going to really be the difference maker in this, and he's expecting to crack him on the feet to the point where Shimmyshky is going to have to try to grapple with him. He's not a bad grappler, but I don't expect him to be able to get the takedowns. I think Goff should be able to avoid it or take him down, get him down, and when he gets him down, he'll probably get into mount and just rain heavy elbows. His elbows from mounts are nasty. That's like his bread and butter. He's got some vicious ground and pound, and I think he's going to get signed after this win.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. This, for me, is one of the locks of the night. I just feel like he's more capable of finding the finish, more capable of winning this. He has the tools. He's seen the bright lights. This is just another day at the park for this kid, and I'm excited to see where he goes from here. He has the look. He has the skill. He has the full package. This other guy, I feel like ultimately, Simon, as I'm going to call him, is kind of like the sacrificial lamb, if you will, for the guy that we're putting our faith in. And when I say we, I mean the royal we, the UFC fans. This is a showcase fight, and I'm glad that we're on the right side of it.
Shimmyshky was a showcase fight for his last opponent in Mike Mallet on the Contender Series, and it's kind of the same here. I mean, he's got skill, don't get me wrong, but I mean, they're giving him really bad matchups against really good competition. And Gaff has fought really good competition since coming into, his professional. I think he was only 3 or 4 fights in. He was fighting Cameron Nakshimov. I can't really pronounce his last name, but he was on tough. He was like a 10-fight veteran at that point, and he was super young in his career. Then he took on Contender Series alumni Sean Lally, who's got some heavy hands. He fought through fire, and Lally landed some really hard shots. He walked through it, took him down, beat his ass. And then he fought another Contender Series alumni in Justin Sumter. He walked through fire in that fight, took him down, beat his ass too. So I kind of think of the same. He's going to walk through fire against Shimmyshky, who's not really a big power puncher. Yes, 4 of his 8 wins have come by knockout, but he's only gotten like one standing knockout in the last 4 years, and he's facing really bad competition. I mean, his only good competition was Mike Mallet, and he lost.
The one he lost to.
Right. And then he's made some bad mistakes as well. And that Mike Mallet fight is a prime example. He misses on a shot, goes in for a takedown, leaves his head out there and gets guillotined. Against a guy that's not really known for his guillotines. Yes, he's a good ground fighter, but he's a better wrestler than he's a jiu-jitsu guy. And he had 0 guillotine submissions in his career leading up to that point. So it's not like, he's a neck hunter and, okay, you get caught. But no, he literally left it out there that anybody with half a brain that's trained jiu-jitsu probably could have snatched that up.
Beautiful.
All right, moving on. Our next fight up is in the heavyweight division between Waldo Cortez Acosta and Danilo Suzar. Right now, the line set at Acosta minus 340, come back at Suzar plus 280. Who do you got?
While Danilo, he does have a decent record, obviously 9-1. I believe this fight was set up to showcase Waldo. I don't know if you saw the weigh-ins, but one is not like the other. Let's just put it that way.
Definitely.
Waldo, the dude's name is Waldo. We need more strong Waldos in the world. He's higher on the food chain. He should be able to do as he pleases. Also, Danilo, he trains with Carlos Felipe. That's an instant fade from this guy.
I completely agree.
And play is Acosta.
Yeah, I'm expecting Acosta getting in there and getting the knockout finish. He's looked good. He was an LFA heavyweight champion. He cashed in as a big underdog against a really tough competitor. And I think it's Travis Thompson, I believe, and normally his opponent was taking out guys in the first round. He was able to weather the early storm and actually get the late finish. And the thing is with Acosta, he's got some sneaky good cardio that he can take guys into deep waters and knock them out. I don't think Cesar's really going to beat anybody with his cardio. He's coming forward. He's going to try to knock your head off from round 1. And if he gets out of round 1, that's a crapshoot from there. I think if Acosta gets out of round 1 and doesn't get knocked out, he probably runs away with this. Possibly gets a round 2, round 3 knockout. Moving on. Our next fight up is in the featherweight. Yeah, no, that's pretty easy. In the featherweight division between Connor Matthews and Francis Marshall. Right now, Marshall minus 120. The comeback on Matthews plus 100. Who do you got?
This particular fight is as close as they come. Talk about a coin flip fight. 2 solid grapplers, but I will say Marshall has probably fought the stiffer of competition. I'm expecting a close decision win, but it really depends on who lands more in the clinch. Both are very capable, but I am leaning towards Marshall, and I'm curious to see where the odds fall. I'm surprised that it isn't a pick'em right now, and I could see Matthews becoming a bigger dog, but I wouldn't play that unless he was like a plus 200 or something. I think it's a good point. I think we're getting a reasonable price tag on Marshall here, but I'm not confident. I will say that.
This is a fight that's really hard to gauge what you're going to get from either guy. Connor, he's fought abysmal competition. It's probably better than the competition that he's faced. That's how bad his competition is. He's beating guys he's beaten numerous guys in under a minute. So you really don't know his capabilities outside of a minute. I don't think he's even been outside round 1. Marshall has fought the better competition. He's beaten the better competition. We've seen more from him. I think he's more well-rounded, especially in the striking department. So I'm gonna have to lean towards Marshall, but I can't be overly confident because he's still green. He's only 23 years old. He's only 5-0. And Connor Matthews, he's also 5-0, but he's 30 years old. So he's at least more seasoned, possibly in the sport. And I know he's been working with the New England cartel, kind of getting ready for this fight. So maybe he's the best version of himself in this fight. So really, there's too many intangibles that I can really bet on this fight. But I'm going to have to side with Marshall getting it done, though.
I would rather have no nickname than be nicknamed the Controller. It's such a bland nickname.
The Controller. I'm an accountant by day, guys, okay? And I don't even want the Controller title.
When I hear the Controller, it reminds me of the PlayStation 1 controller, not even the 64 controller. It's like a bland PS2, PS1, no joysticks, that controller. His image here of him screaming, I guess it kind of suits him. He looks like one of the South Park rejects, maybe, but we'll see. I just hope it's a good fight.
I think it's going to be, we're going to see a lot of grappling exchanges, which is what's going to make it a lot of fun, actually. Moving on to our co-main event is a fight in the flyweight division between Shannon, Ross, and Vinicius. It's Salvador. Right now, Ross is minus 240 to come back on Salvador plus 200. Who do you got?
Shannon Ross coming off a 1.5-year layoff to fight a younger Salvador with a 100% career finish rate. Salvador does have power, but throws a lot of looping strikes, but not high volume. Ross should be able to avoid Salvador's wild attempts while landing the cleaner strikes. I think Salvador is worth a stab considering the odds, but Ross will probably win via lackluster decision. My pick is Ross. My play is Salvador plus 205. I got that earlier today. With this whole Dana White, let's finish the fight, I think both of these guys are going to engage. And I think that Ross, having been away and being the older man, I think it could hurt him. But if he uses his IQ, which I hope he does, he should be able to stick and move all the way to a 15-minute decision. Yeah, so both guys.
Pretty much you're taking both sides. When it comes to this fight, it was hard for me to gauge, what we're going to get from either one. Shannon Ross coming off almost a 2-year layoff, but he's shown that he's a, decent fighter, well-rounded. Where you got Vinicius, Salvador, who's kill or be killed. He comes in there, he wants to brawl, lay it all on the line. Like you said, all of his wins have come inside the distance. He's got heavy hands, but he's not the better fighter in this matchup. It just comes down to if Shannon Ross can take the punch. If he could take the punch, he probably wins this fight quite easily, takes a unanimous decision win, or Salvador comes in and knocks his head off. I think the latter, though. I think Shannon Ross probably gets it done. I think he probably makes it look easy. He just kind of dominates him with grappling exchanges and just kind of mixing it up and just being the better fighter. But ultimately, it doesn't get a finish. It doesn't look overly oppressive either, and just gets a UD win. And why does this man over here look like Tristan Thompson, like a skinny Tristan Thompson?
I was thinking the same thing. It's the haircut, and I think the angles of his face,
he looked like a skinny Tristan Thompson. I'm like, what is that?
He didn't look like that at the weigh-ins.
No,
I think it's like the beard, maybe, or maybe his one of the Kardashians contoured his face a little bit for that photo up there.
Our featured bout for this week's Contender Series is in the lightweight division between Charlie Campbell and Chris Duncan. Right now, Campbell's a minus 145 favorite. Come back on Chris Duncan's plus 125. Who do you got?
I think this is a great main event. If you're going to stay up for a card, this is the fight that you're staying up to watch. Both guys are very capable of a win here, but even at the weigh-ins, Campbell appears bigger, and because of which I would assume he does get to the mat. His haircut's dumb though. Why would you have the outside of your hair blonde? It looks really weird. If he doesn't find the finish, I assume that this one goes a lot like Duncan's last Dana White appearance. The boys trade and Duncan eventually gets cracked. Play with fire, get burned type of thing, a la Derek Lewis.
I was initially leaning Chris Duncan just because, he's had experience, faced better competition. I feel like he's just a little bit more battle tested. But after really digging deep, I think Campbell really gets this done. I think he hurts Duncan on the feet. I don't think Duncan's going to be able to, secure takedowns. I know he'll get maybe 1 or 2 takedowns, kind of like Slava, but Campbell's really hard to keep down on the mat. He normally is able to get back to his feet. I mean, he trains at Cerro Longo, so he's relentless with his grappling and those guys over there. Obviously he's got the power to match with Duncan, and I think he's much more technically sound on the feet than Duncan is as well. He also is able to mix it up better with kicks to the body, kicks to the head, especially that calf kick, which is probably going to hurt Duncan as he's always coming forward, always staying heavy on that lead leg. So I'm taking Campbell here. I think he gets the knockout probably inside 2 rounds. He's probably going to dead him with another left hook, just like Slava did. So yeah, I got Campbell getting the knockout early on in this matchup.
So we agreed on pretty much all of them. And the only one that I think is really up for debate is the Ross and Salvador fight. I mean, that really just is going to come down to IQ.
I think that's the only fight for me that I'm just about. The rest, I'm pretty confident and who gets the job done. I don't want to say confident in Marshall, but I'm confident that I think he's the better fighter. He's more complete than from what I've seen of Conor Matthews, which isn't a lot. So that says a lot.
And I would say that you definitely have your ear to the pulse or your hand to the pulse as far as Tuesday Night Contender Series goes. Yeah, I like what you're saying. I think I'm going to follow your lead and probably stay out of the Salvador fight and just enjoy it as a fan.
Yeah,
I'm getting pretty good at this.
I'm not going to lie. You've been doing your homework. I can't give you props there, my man.
Yeah, half of these guys, I don't know who they are until I talk shit to them on Twitter, and then they're like, Catch me outside. How about that? So it is what it is.
That's what we got for you for this week's Contender Series breakdown. But before we go, I need you guys to go to the Vegas Odds YouTube channel and on all socials. Give them a follow and subscribe. Like this, comment below. We want to hear it. Talk some smack. We'll talk some smack back, and we'll be here next week as well. We are out of here. You guys have a good one.